the Gunners the lead. Harry Kane's penalty after Mustafi shoved the Spurs man, and although he was in an offside position, we think, and cameras back that up, spot kick was awarded and converted. At the other end, Aubameyang went down under the challenge of Sanchez. He couldn't convert, and Torreira sent off very late on for a high challenge. Just to reflect, Chris, before we hand back to the studio, we take 1-1, but the circumstances of the game, you know, we're full of regret maybe here that we didn't win.
Yeah, I think you take 1-1 at the start of the game, knowing what a good side Spurs are, but having drawn the sting out of the match in the second half, I felt we deserved to go on and win it. And when you've got a penalty with, what, 2-3 minutes left on the clock, that's the big regret. And not just the penalty, but not to score from a yard out with the rebound is absolutely galling. Torreira unlucky to be sent off at the end. A point seems good, but in the circumstances, it should have been 3.
Much more chat, analysis to come from Arsenal Nation Live, full time here. It's finished Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1.
So, of course, it ends 1-1. We had that penalty miss. We're going to jump straight into the chat about that. You can see the lads saying goodbye to each other in the studio. We're poised and waiting desperately for Aubameyang to bang it in. We have a picture we're going to throw up where you can literally see Dave Hillier hiding behind this chair. I was even making a little film ready for us to celebrate, but the celebrations never came. How did Uber miss that penalty shot, lads?
He didn't look confident in the run-up, did he? He looked very, very anxious and stressed out, and you're always a little bit worried about that when you see a player look like that. And there was no conviction in the penalty. It was very close to Lloris. He hit it and he hoped it would go in. He didn't think about it enough.
Dave, what kind of pressure's on his mind as he's doing that?
Massive pressure. I mean, he's got the whole weight of Wembley Stadium. Every red shirt in there is on him, and he's going to be under immense pressure. But I agree with Jim. If you're going to flash hard. If you're just going to side foot it, smash it as hard as you can so that at least it spills off somewhere. But he didn't have the conviction, and he looked a bit nervous, and he was worried about the outcome. But he shouldn't have been, because it was 1-1. It was only to win the game. It wasn't to save the game.
And also there was the follow-up. Iwobi crosses it in again, and he just couldn't get his foot wrapped around it, and it flew over.
In fairness, I think there's a great tackle on the line there. I'm not sure if it's Vertonghen or slides in, or one of them, and it's a great tackle, interception there, because he's only going to tap that in. But listen, it's 1-1, and I predicted a loss.
Well, there's a little bit of controversy with that, because apparently Vertonghen was encroaching the area, so technically maybe it should have been taken again. But if we're hoping for little inches like that, maybe we need to do a little bit more and just bang it in. Basically.
We could say the same about the goal, couldn't we? Because they're slightly offside on the free kick as the ball goes in. So, yeah, if it works all ways. But unfortunately, it ain't gone our way today with results from the referee and stuff. So we'll take 1-1. We'll take that.
We've got some social media tweets we're going to show you how Arsenal fans reacted around the world. Poor decision. Kane is offside, so push in at the back from Mustafi doesn't matter. Kane offside from the free kick, but it's definite foul from Mustafi. Fake penalty after being offside. I think we're all basically going to be echoing this offside point. We've got 2 more. It's a stupid challenge and definitely a penalty, but he is offside. And final one, yes, that was a penalty, but Kane was offside. So they're all agreeing it's offside. Lads, do we think it was offside as well, for that Kane penalty?
Yeah, I think definitely offside. The push from Mustafi is completely unnecessary. Koscielny's going to win the header. I think what's happened is Mustafi's got himself in such a bad position, he's actually almost staring at Koscielny and the jump. And his momentum's took him into the back of Kane, which he needn't have done. He should have had his body opened on, sideways on, looking at the bigger picture. He would never have to make that challenge.
And Jim, do you think this is a big case for VAR to be introduced? Because if it had been offside, it had been confirmed by VAR, then obviously we wouldn't have the penalty for Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of people criticise VAR for how it might take some of the humanity out of the game, but at the end of the day, that's 2 points Arsenal should probably have on the board now that they don't have, and it has a tangible effect, these sort of decisions, and it's not reasonable to expect human beings to be able to catch up with it in the same way that technology can. So it's a really frustrating day. I think overall, on the balance of play, it's not the most outrageous scoreline. I think it's probably fair, but it's still frustrating.
I know, because Uber didn't score the penalty, we feel a little bit deflated, but there are many positives we can draw. Mickey had a really good game. I'm going to throw up some tweets where we can talk about that. So Mkhitaryan has been absolutely top-notch. What a performance. And we've got one more. Mkhitaryan easily playing one of the best games in an Arsenal shirt. And coming into this game, he's been playing some of his best form. What did you like about Mickey's game today?
Well, I like the fact that he's brought the continuity through from the Southampton and especially from Bournemouth, when I felt he was, right on top of his game. He's brought it into today's game. He looked a bit better, more control over himself today. I don't think we saw as much going forward as we have seen from him, but you've got to understand, 60-odd% possession conceded. He's going to be working back a lot of the time. And he did a decent job in there today. He protected Mustafi for most of the game. And yeah, it's nice to have him on the up coming into the last 8 games of the season. So, it's not all bad today. There's lots of positives.
We've got some more positives as well. Socrates played really well. We've got some tweets. We're going to throw that up. So Socrates has been incredible. We've got one more. Socrates is so underrated. So, Jim, how did you assess the performance of our Greek defender?
I'm a big fan of Socrates because he just does the simple stuff decisively, quickly and well, and we needed a calm head in there today, and that's what we got in the shape of Socrates. So I think people are right to pick him out and to praise him, and actually he's grown into his role at Arsenal now. He seems to be a bit more settled, presumably, in a new country and a new team, and he's showing that he's got some real leadership quality, and that's what you need. You need someone consistent and dependable, even if they're not like they're not a Rolls-Royce, Virgil van Dijk style player. They can't all be like that. But
he's under the radar then, isn't he?
Absolutely.
And you noticed today in his performance, he took full responsibility for Harry Kane for 99% of the game. And he was stepping in at the right time, picking the ball off him. But also on the flip side, he don't make rash decisions. If you're in the box, you got the ball, you're facing him, he ain't sticking his foot in nowhere stupid. Yeah. He's going to stand up and be a good, solid defender. So he's a good role model for those players around him as well.
He's in charge of you if you're running at him.
Absolutely.
Also, on your point about defending, we're going to look at your Opta stats now. You're going to talk us through how Arsenal defended throughout the game. Yeah,
I mean, obviously the possession tells you that Arsenal are going to be under the cosh. But really, it's the amount of tackles we made. I asked Jim to try and guess how many Spurs had made. I think they made 12. We've made a lot more than them. But in terms of the way we had to defend so much, I think it was because of the possession turnover. We just couldn't seem to keep a grip on the ball. And you look down at that, the possession lost. That is so out of character for Arsenal. All, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double figures for losing the ball from a side that we know with Arsene Wenger has always been about possession. But that in turn led us to have to defend a lot deeper, and it was a lot harder for us at times. But fair play, we kept the shots down to a minimum. We kept chances down Tottenham for a minimum. And when they did get in, we had Leno. So happy with that, really.
So we've got another tweet where people are basically summing up the game. We do have to remember we haven't really lost points per se. It is a draw. We have gained the points today. So Arsenal's space between the DFF midfielder and attack has been superb. Team actually has structure to it, which kind of follows Dave's point of defence a little bit. Do you agree with that point? Do you think we looked structured today, looked more solid in the way we basically put the game forward?
I think at times we looked like we were a little bit fragile within our structure, but I would say that we have got one, definitely.
Yeah, I think some of the sort of more panicked positioning and play that we've seen in the past was absent today. So I think that's certainly starting.
And that was punishable stuff, weren't it? But today, because we got the shape, we can cope with it. Yeah, definitely.
Now, obviously, we've got the point. Spurs are the same distance they were in front of us. We're going to, so United are coming to us. What positives do we draw into that game? Do we still have that momentum? I know it didn't end how we wanted, but we still have the momentum, Jim?
I think so, because we'll point to the penalty having been offside. You would hope that wouldn't happen again. And obviously the penalty miss is unfortunate, but it's one of those things that happens. Arsenal played well. They didn't lose their heads. They stuck to their game plan well. And that at home, if you stick to your game plan well, then you've got a great chance.
For me, all of that to one side, the biggest loss today was Torreira.
Yes.
At the end, I think yes. Hopefully the players will look at it and say the goal was offside, so we can take a bit from that. We should have maybe had 3 points, but they've got to look at the Torreira thing. His tackle was not malicious. His foot is loose at point of impact, almost indicating that he's trying to come out of it. And he won the ball clean. He tried to hook it. His foot's in the air, and he's gone loose. There's no firmness. There's no malice in it. So we really need to get that turned over, because the loss will be we lose him for Man United. So we need to get that sorted. But other than that, I think it's a good day at the office.
Yeah.
So good day at the office. We picked up the point. Lads, I need a one-word summary from each of you.
Frustrating.
Frustrating.
Pleased.
So we've been pleased but frustrated at the same time. We do march on to play Manchester United, and it's all to play for because obviously we're hopefully still 4th place and we get those results later on. But thank you for joining us once again on Arsenal Nation Live. Thanks for joining me, lads. We'll be back and we'll get those points. Come on, Arsenal.